Hey, Medis. Now we're really excited to have Angela Cassano with us, and she's going to be talking about personal strategic planning, identifying your strengths, and owning your weaknesses. I have to tell you, I've had the honor of knowing Angela for a really long time, and I'm thrilled that she's joining us at Medipreneurs. Angela, tell us a little bit about your session and what people can expect.
Thank you so much, Michelle. My session is going to be all about owning your weaknesses, but figuring out what your strengths are. We oftentimes really focus on what our strengths are and how to fix our weaknesses, but we don't always have to fix them. We need to identify them, make sure they don't own us, and make sure that we can really adequately explain to people why we have those weaknesses still and why we will stick with them. For instance, in my career, one weakness that the rest of the world might view as a weakness, I don't, but is that I am not able to travel a significant amount of time to make my work occur. Mm-hmm. And I've had to answer the question most of my career as to why that is so and why I won't put travel before my family. And that's because I need to adhere to the big why in my career and in my entrepreneurial journey. So we will really work through a personal SWOT analysis, which is something that's really uncomfortable if you've never done it before. Many people will probably decide that you do some version of a SWOT analysis on a regular basis, but to really write it out and to really work through it and to work through the uncomfortable pieces of it is really empowering when you come out the other side. And I would really encourage you that this session is not just for people that are starting out. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know what a SWOT analysis was when I first started out. I really wish I had. But I knew what my morals and my goals and my big why was. And so now that I know what a SWOT analysis is, I do one on a regular basis. And oftentimes I will do it around a particular project that has been offered to me. So it's really working through that process. But before you can work through that process, we really need to get to the heart of what your goals are. And they aren't always entrepreneurial. They may have to do with personal goals, which actually outweigh your entrepreneurial goals. So it's a lot to fit into a 90-minute session, but I'm pretty confident we'll get there.
You've pretty much just answered it. If I came to your workshop, what kinds of things would I walk away with?
Well, you would walk away with a very systematic way to think of your goals. You should walk away with the confidence that your goals are going to change throughout your entrepreneurial journey. I've been at this for 15 years. This wasn't something I ever intended to do. In fact, I have to admit, I skipped most of my business classes in pharmacy school because they only applied to people that were going to purchase a pharmacy or run their own pharmacy. And so those were the ones I chose to skip on a pretty regular basis. I probably wasn't the strongest student in some regards. So the entrepreneurial side of things didn't come upon me until probably about 3 to 6 months before I actually launched Farm Fusion. And my goals have changed significantly over the last 15 years.
Well, I've been blessed to watch your 15 years and see what's happened and just be amazed. Will you let people get to know you a little bit and kind of how you did get to this point?
Sure. I am a graduate of Campbell University, which is how actually Michelle's known me for longer than 15 years. She's known me for closer to 25. As she was one of my professors at Campbell University. And so I always had a heart for hospital pharmacy from the moment I graduated. That was where I was going. And even my goals from a residency standpoint changed once I saw other opportunities that were out there. For instance, when I graduated, I wanted to do a geriatric ambulatory care second-year residency. By the time I finished my first year residency, I had decided to do an inpatient pediatric residency. So you can see that I don't have a whole lot of trouble going 180 out on my goals and really switching it up and figuring out on a dime sometimes how to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I had basically my dream job within probably 5 years of graduation, and was very happy in that job. And then a position that was new at the time as a med safety officer opened up right after my daughter was born. I had decided to step down from administration and go back to being a clinical pharmacist, a staff clinical pharmacist, from an hours perspective. And then the medication safety officer position opened up. I fell in love instantly with med safety and how that impacted particularly my pediatric patients, and loved that role. Focused a lot on sterile compounding. USP 797 was brand new at the time, yeah. And smart infusion pumps, and really had made a niche for myself in both of those areas. And then my husband got a real job. He was no longer a physician resident. We were moving across the country with a 2-year-old, and I knew nobody would hire me part-time as a med safety officer for this oddball role that nobody really knew what to do with, and nobody in Dayton, Ohio knew who I was. And so I decided to really take stock of what I was doing day in and day out, and realized a lot of it was what other people would consider dull and boring. It was analyzing things, it was trending things, it was writing policies and procedures, and that didn't have to be done at the bedside.
Right.
So I decided to call some people and say, hey, would you hire me to do all this stuff and do it from afar? And enough of them said yes. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You are the picture of somebody who takes advantages of opportunities and redoes her SWOT analysis on a regular basis and makes changes accordingly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely been a blessing to be able to do that. I've been very fortunate to do that. I was very fortunate within a year of launching my company, at which point I was doing okay. I wasn't necessarily running away with big bucks or anything like that, but my big why always has been, the big why has not changed for me. It has always been to be a mom first. So other people may have a big why of getting rich and retiring at 40, of having to not work for somebody else and have the freedom to choose other things. But mine has always been to be a mom first. Hence the reason why I can't travel quite as much as some people would.
Yeah.
And so a year after I started my company, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Went through chemotherapy, went through double mastectomies, the whole thing, and actually am on year 13 of being a survivor of that. So very exciting, yes. And, I started this business with the sole goal of doing this until our daughter went to kindergarten, and our daughter is a sophomore in high school. So people keep hiring me. The business keeps evolving and changing, which is really exciting. I won't promise that every day doesn't have something in it that's kind of dull and boring, but I'm still able at the end of the day to have been a mom first. And that is really important to me.
I think that's fantastic. And I know that will resonate. There are so many people, I might be wrong, but I'm feeling like maybe more so on the women's side. I guess that's because I pay attention to the pharmacist moms group. Sure. But I know there are a lot of moms in pharmacy who will very much resonate with everything that you're saying.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. And thank you for traveling to Cincinnati in April.
Yes, I do make exceptions. I do travel, but I do consult on the family calendar and get everything lined up before I say yes to that. And I'm pretty excited to be coming to Cincinnati. My business really was first launched in Dayton, Ohio, right up the street. Mm-hmm. And still have a lot of people. That's where I was diagnosed with cancer. That's where I was sick and went through all of my treatments and could not have done it with those good, awesome Ohio friends. And so I look forward to getting back to the Ohio area.
Perfect.
Looking forward to it, Angela. I can't wait to learn from you.
Thank you so much for having me.
We will see you in April.
Awesome. See you then.